Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back to FreeCAD Fun channel again. Today I'm going to create this crane hook. This crane hook is full of thread, and then the first profile circle, and then the second profile is here, third profile is in the bottom, and the fourth profile, the circle here, and this is the last profile. Okay, this is the crane hook. Now we want to begin to create it. Let's close this file. Now we create new file, go to the part design here, and then click for sketch. Now click for the plane XY. Okay, now click for the circle. Circle here. Okay, now click for the diameter. About 52 millimeter. Okay, now circle is created. Close the sketch. Okay, now for the second sketch, I will create a guideline sketch in outer. Now we can go to sketch and create sketch in XZ plane. Okay, now create line. This line I will create distance from the axis system about 26 millimeter, or diameter 52 divided by 2. Okay, now click this point and this horizontal axis to fix. Okay, now create arcs. This arcs, this top point and the line point. I will create a line. Then I will create this center dimension about 220 minus 138. Okay, some error, so I will create this point and this line for 62 dimension, 62 millimeter. Okay, okay, next I will create a line, this line, and click this line point and the arcus point for tangent. Next, another arcus from the inside center, click this point and this point, also this line point and the arcus point for tangent. Okay, now for the first arcus, let's create dimension for radius 45. Okay, then now we'll create the distance for second arcus center and the point from the axis, and then create vertical dimension for 220 millimeter. Okay, now I will create the radius for the second arcus for 94 millimeter. Okay, and the distance from the center to the vertical axis is 11 millimeter. Okay, so we'll put the dimension here. Okay, now next, the third arcus I will create again from inside. Now this point from the third arcus and the point from second arcus, let's make it tangent. Okay, now center, let's check for the center. Here's the center. Now I will create the dimension, the position for the center. Click this center and the point from the axis, same for about 220 millimeter. I mean plus 12. Okay, see error. Let's make it 220, 232 millimeter. Okay, let's create a radius for the third arcus. Click the arcus and go to constraint radius. Let's set for 82 millimeter. Okay, now I will set this point from the third arcus, the last point. So click this point from the arcus and the point from the axis, and let's create dimension for 220 millimeter. Okay, now I will create another arcus from the outside. click this point and this point. Okay, now click this arcus for the radius, set to 125. Okay, let's move here. Let's this point and this point tangent. Okay, now create another arcus from the inside, from this point to this point, and the center. I will create the distance to this point axis for about 220 minus 40. Okay, let's say about 180 millimeter. Okay, now click this arcus for constraint radius about 10 millimeter. Okay, now click this point and this point for tangent. Okay, so to make it fully constrained, so check it sketch. So this is still moving. Now to fix it, I will create distance from this point to this axis point and create dimension and leave it as it is. Okay, so the first guide sketch is fully constrained. Let's close the sketch, and this is the first sketch and the second sketch. Okay, now we are going to create the third sketch, also the guide sketch, same this XZ plane. Click OK. Now we create from this side on the right side, so I will create line from this position to this position, and then create arcus from the inside, this point to this point, and then create the line again from this point to this point. Okay, now connect this arcus with the line, make it tangent, and this line point and the arcus point also tangent. Now for this point of line with this point axis, I will create dimension for 26 millimeter. Okay, now for this center, I will create the distance to axis point for vertical dimension about 69 millimeter. Okay, and the radius of arcus about 125 millimeter. Okay, so for the next, let's create again an arcus from the inside here. Okay, let's make a tangent between 2 points of the both arcus and create the radius for 35 millimeter. Okay, now the position of the center for the last arcus is fixed with the axis, so click this point, fix. Okay, now for this point I will create the distance with this axis point for 220 millimeter. Okay, so for the last one I will create arcus from the inside to this point, create tangent with 2 points of the both arcus and create tangent. So for the last, I will connect to this sketch. First I want to copy the first sketch, so I will click this copy of geometry. Now click this sketch. Okay, now I will click this point with this point, make it tangent. Okay, now let's take to model. I will hide this sketch and make it blue sketch, so we cannot use this, only for the guide. So let's for degree freedom. Okay, now this point with this axis I will create it fixed. Or distance maybe about to make it 0. Okay, so the second guide sketch fully constrained or green. Now we can close sketch. Now we have 3 sketch. First the circle, and second first guide sketch and the third. For the first cross section sketch, I will create the sketch in this position, so I will create new datum, let's see, show the origin first, sketch, let's delete, create again, click this, and from the Z direction, for distance 220, let's see, so to the bottom direction minus, okay, now click OK. Let's hide the origin. Now click this datum for sketch. Okay, now I will create a sketch first. Create Arcus. Another Arcus. Line. Then Arcus. And Arcus from the axis center. And then Arcus again. And then line. And the last Arcus. Okay, now create tangent between each point. Tangent. Tangent. And the last tangent. Okay, now create Arcus for the radius 70 millimeter. Okay, so created this bigger, sorry, click this Arcus for radius 140. Okay, now create this Arcus, fourth Arcus for radius 10 millimeter. Okay, now create this guideline and this guideline for distance 70 millimeter. Okay, now click this Arcus and the line for tangent. Click this Arcus and the line for tangent. Okay, now click this sorry, let's create again line bottom line for the distance 65. Okay, now this point to this axis 65 divided by 2, 32.5. Okay, now click this arcus to this line for tangent, also in the bottom tangent. Okay, now this is not yet symmetric, so I will create again the guideline. This point to this point for distance 25. Okay, now click this point to axis line for distance 12.5. Okay, now create this arcus and the line for the tangent. Undo. Let's create here. Okay, now I will create the distance from this point to this point for 25. Okay, now this point to line axis for 12.5. Okay, now cross section is created. Now let's see the 9-degree. Okay, now let's create this for the guideline, so I'll make it blue. Make it blue and make it blue. So for this distance to the axis, let's say this distance to this distance for about 35. Okay, now to create the position of this sketch, I will create distance from this point of guideline to the axis line for the distance about 35. So there is still 8-degree freedom. So let's check for this guideline. I will create distance as it is. Okay. Okay, now let's check for the 4-degree. this point to this axis. Okay, this point axis. Let's make it this point. See, this point to this point distance. Okay, this point to this point axis for distance as it is, and this point to this point of axis as it is. Sorry. Okay, red. So let's for another distance. Still red. Let's check again. Which okay, now this point to this point axis for vertical 1 degree. Let's check this point for the line point for vertical. Okay, so the sketch is green now. Sorry for the lot of dimension. Okay, now close the sketch. Okay, now cross section, first one is created. Now I will choose the distance for 55 millimeter. And then this vertical line for 58 millimeter. Okay, now click this arcus to this line for tangent, this bottom arcus to the line for tangent, and this arcus to the sideline for tangent, and also this arcus to the sideline of the left for tangent. Now choose this point to this line for the distance of 52 divided by 2, about 27.5. And I've created the distance between these 2 points for about 34.22. Okay, this point and this point in the line for symmetry. No. Nope. Maybe this point to this line. 34.22 divided by 2, 17.11. Okay, now the sketch is in the middle. Now I will create this point to the axis for about 220 plus 35, so 255. Okay, now the sketch is green. Now I will change the guideline to the blue one. Okay, sketch fully constrained. Okay, now close the sketch, hide the origin. Now see, the second cross section sketch is created. Now for third cross section, I will create circle here in this datum plane. So click this datum plane and click sketch. Now create circle for about diameter 36 millimeter, and then create this center to the axis for a distance about 35 plus 36. Okay, see now, oops, 35 for 18, I mean, so 35 plus 80 millimeter. Okay, now create it, sketch full constraint. Now we can close. Okay, now to create the fourth cross section sketch, I will go to the second sketch first and click this arcus, make it blue, and then close the sketch. See, now I have 2 points to create a new datum. So click this new datum, click for reference, click this point and this point. Now we align to XY. Okay, now click OK for the new datum, hide the old datum. So click this new datum for sketch. Let's see, I will measure this point to this point. Now let's copy first the sketch, copy this sketch, no. So to know the distance between these 2 points, I will close first and then check from another sketch, click for the third sketch. Now create this point to this point for the distance. Let's see, 19.21. Okay, now close the sketch and then go to the last sketch. And create line for about 19.2127 divided by 2. Okay, now use this as a guideline. So I will create circle and go to this point. Okay, now for the diameter, okay, so the sketch fully constrained. Now we can close. Okay, now we can create 3D now. Let's hide the datum plan. Now to create the 3D, we can go to part workbench and then click for the sweep. Now we can click the cross section sketch. Choose the cross section sketch. Okay, now create solid and choose sweep path for this guideline. and this guideline, guide sketch. Done. Now let's see for the 3D. Click OK. Okay, now the 3D is created. Now we can hide this body. So now for the next 3D, I will create the hub ball in this area. So we want to use this plane, this XZ plane. Go to the part design, click sketch. Now we can hide first the 3D. And we can use the 6 sketch. Now I will copy the sketch from this icon to this sketch, and I will create a quarter arcus from this center to this point. See, for the radius 10 millimeter. Okay. Create this point tangent. Let's create again arcus this point to this point tangent. Now for the radius 10 millimeter. Okay, now create a quarter. So I will create this line. Let's copy this sketch. No, maybe create first this line from this point to this point, and then create this line with this line. This line, let's see, height first. This line and this line for perpendicular. Now this point to this point, fix, and then create this point and this point for about 19.2127 divided by 2. Okay, let's check again. Click this click this line with this line for perpendicular. Okay, now we can delete this line. I will create again another guideline. Let's create it in blue. Now click this point to this line to fix. Okay, now we can click this as a blue one, so click this sketch, this sketch as blue one. Now this is the sketch for the 3D of half ball. Now close the sketch, and now we can create the 3D from the part workbench and create this Revolve from the last sketch, 7th sketch. Click OK, select reference, okay. No, let's undo. Let's repeat again. Click this Revolve and then click the last sketch. For axis, click solid and click axis, this line, click OK. Okay, now the 3D is created, half ball. So now sweep I will show, and then the body I will hide. Now see this created. Okay, next I will create a thread in this position. Now we go to Fastener. Now I will create thread. It will automatically place in here because this is in the middle of the axis and plane. So I will create the metric thread, which is in orange for metric. Okay, now click this spec of threaded rod. Now I will choose for diameter M42 and length for 70 millimeter. Let's click again for the direction. Let's invert through. Sorry. this placement translation. $70 millimeter minus, let's say 3, so 67. Apply. Okay, now click again the thread and close this. So I will make it true for the thread. Let's see. Check again. 67. Okay. Okay, now hide the axis and plane. Okay, now see, this is the thread. Now next one, I will create undercut between thread and the body of hook. So click this plane and then click for geometry. Now I will go to part design to sketch the profile of the undercut. Just sketch a circle here with the diameter of 7 millimeter. 7 millimeter. Okay, now the position, this point center and the axis is about 42 millimeter divided by 221. Let's see, not meter, millimeter. Okay, now from the center to the horizontal axis for 3.5 millimeter. Okay, now sketch is green, can close. Now for the cut here, I will go to part workbench and create Revolve. Okay, now direction for Z. Let's see, click OK. Okay, now we can cut between this thread and the Revolve. So we choose this to cut. Okay, now we can see the undercut. Okay, now to geometry and hide the origin. Now to make it color same all, we can union first the all body, click the body, sweep, revolve and cut here to union all. Fusion, let's try again. See body with sweep, union, no. Cut and revolve, union, okay. Fusion and sweep, union. Okay, now fusion with body, union, no. So let's see, union, I think almost all. So body, we can hide this. Okay, now we go to appearance for color. I will choose yellow. I will edit a little old. Okay, now the hook, current hook is finished. Remodel. Okay everyone, thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, enjoy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.